All right, ladies and gents, daily trading recap for Friday, the 17th of September, 2021. Coming to you an hour before market close here. We got some other stuff going on after the close here that I got IRL. So we'll try and knock out this video here quick just to recap the one trade I had on CRVS today that, I'll definitely want to get into. Nice green day. Always nice to have a green day, but great learning lesson to go along with it too that I will get into. Nothing really hard that I'm looking at I'm not doing any amount of scanning right now to try and look for over the weekend for Monday or try to hold as an overnight or over the weekend hold. I'll do more of that closer to Monday over the weekend here. Whatever. But market internals as of right now, not substantial. We're still got plenty of time left into power hour, especially Friday afternoon right before the close. But NASDAQ, here's the dollar volume. Nice see, $209 billion volume. OTC, we're pretty right on par with what we've seen successively in the days before. Today, SPY doing a little bit of a down day, close to 1% down on the day. Might be starting that little bit of a continuation trend here where we didn't even try to even come close to that 450 after this little curl here. Bowen even mentioned it too in his morning prep that, this is just so choppy and this is just, it's just so hard to trade any real stocks that try to follow the market because it's been so choppy. And yes, I can absolutely see that 100% of what he's saying, the choppiness and maybe the width or the length of the bodies of these candles especially too. But I mean, what else can you expect? We're still right near all-time highs. This market is absolutely insane. But again, that's to each his own. Coming into today, really didn't have anything hard or passionate about, just keeping an eye on INDP, which I'll start off with that one. Just really did not have anything in it today. It was a downtrend on this one today. Just unfortunate to see. Didn't have any continuation of more craziness after that initial crazy day on Wednesday. I'll also mention it with my trade today too on INDP. And then I'll mention CEI quick as well too before the other ones of just where we're at as of right now. It's still holding. I'm kind of excited in this one to see if it does get really any amount of panic. Like that would just be the absolute coolest thing if for what day are we in now? This is like 2 weeks of trading that has just had this nice slow continual grind. Yes, it's got its little pops here that goes kind of quickly to the upside, that it just trends this nice and slowness, but then all of a sudden to the downside. Maybe it happens here in the last hour of the market, maybe it happens Monday, whatever, that just out of nowhere comes this bombshell, just zipper pull to the downside of just wipes out every single long. That'd be pretty cool, I think. Of course, because I'm not long, I can say that, but man, I'm just wondering where do we go from here? If it's just continuing to hold, do we get another continual breakthrough to come close to the $2 whole level area, potentially in the next few trading days? It'll be interesting to see where it goes. And it's still hard for me to feel passionate about or motivated with each breakout because, like I mentioned yesterday too, what Huddy brought light upon was the fact that the more and more times it continues to do this, rinse and repeat over and over again, the less value or impact each one of those has coming up on the next time. So just keep my eyes peeled, and yes, as if the trade absolutely forces me to be in it, then I will obviously take it, but it's got to do something pretty spectacular amazing for me at this point for me to feel inclinated to try and put my money into this or my cash into this one at least. Whoa. Okay, for trade on the day, CRVS, big mover in the morning. A few other big percentage movers on the day, but CRVS really was the only one with substance. I think ABCL was pretty nice, but just hard fade this whole morning as well too. This is a American biotech float of 18.5 million. No hard news catalyst that I see here on my chart. Obviously, it started spiking after the close yesterday. Looking for a div and rip, put in a nice level here at 3.4. That Chris was actually in this one as well too, and he was basing his trade with a smaller position size, risking that 3.4 level, giving it plenty of breathing room to try and trade on this one. Awesome, beyond 10% move, dip and rip that again just happened super quick. You got the nice curl, the nice basing here, just as starting off this ticker with a super wide, broad spectrum brush before we go into the nitty gritty of it. You get the little indecision here, buyers, sellers bidding it out here right away from the market open. We actually dump below VWAP, put in a nice base that actually ticks a little few people out just below that 3.6 level that was being put in. That's the game that we're playing. You got to be able to be stopped out at that point and willing to get back in, which I'll also get into with how many trades I did take in and out of this thing. But then you get an awesome, pretty much steady and true hold of a hard 3.6 after that point. That gets a nice curl of VWAP, continues to speed up, and then you get the slap to right above 4. And then I get to that point and I see it just starts holding, and then you get that little tiny pullback off of 4, and it just starts trending there. I'm trading this off of the tick chart as well too, of course. Let's go here. And to break down the actual dip and rip pattern. Of course, you get so many of these little fake outs. Then you get the nice little speed up, and then immediately shoots to that $4 level, which of course was beyond 10% from where your entry point should be on this one, basing it off of a 3.6 risk level. And I was just, Kate, get me out, and finally was able to get this out because of how many times this just absolutely, these things have just gone exactly up to the downside and then slammed with 1,000 waterfalls immediately back down to VWAP on the other side. People are looking for this dip and rip type of trade, and shorts are also trying to get in it too. And they actually, shorts got squeezed a little bit more if they were risking that high a day after that first spike, but then huge another pullback too, and it looks better on the 1 minute that we saw earlier. Just that huge volume candle that rips it immediately down, but respects that 3.6 line again. So continues to hold, puts in higher lows once again, and actually has a second attempt. Goes all the way back up to 4.344. Chris actually got out there at that point too because he was away from the computer screen. I mean, good for him. Yeah, great exit on that one for that trade. But now breaking down my trades in this specifically, piggybacking off of the next ticker I'll talk about next of HLBZ. Started out, today was not the most mentally fortuitous day for me in a sense. Not that I was exploiting some different loopholes that I find of just filling that dopamine factor in my head of whether that's social media or just any other influence that I try to put in the morning when I'm still tired, when I feel like I'm at a weak point because I'm not fully awake yet. I'm just trying to fill that hole and maintain the strength in a sense too. And I did lapse a little bit today too, which is not what I want to do, but it's the mentality shift that I need to have to understand that I can still feel that way. And the days I do feel good, I still come in with the same base that I do every single day of, I wish I was still in bed at this point. I really don't want to be, or I wish I was just like doing something else in a sense of just, I wish I would had more sleep in a sense of what my brain is focusing on, but still coming to the mindset of, okay, here's where we are right now, and this is what it's going to take, and you got to focus up and put the time in. It's the same thing as a workout. It's the same thing of, put your analogy here of it's going to take that hard push and motivation to get you where you want to go and the focus that it takes too. So getting thrown off a little bit by that from the get-go brought me into this situation where I fell into that little trap of trying to chase this thing when it shouldn't have been chased. Should have been more patient in all of this. Convince myself that, hey, I'm trading a different lip. I thought this was going to be like an INDP type of trade or chart as it gets, this first 2 minutes where it just holds VWAP and then we get the immediate morning spike to the upside. Thought I was getting a nice little trade here as it was going to break 3.9, potentially cross 4, and then we had all these technical levels, the pre-market level to pass through as well too, that I was going to be a quick profit trade on, but just like, okay, stupid, cut it as it was pulling back more. And I knew, hey, if it cracks VWAP too, it's going to have a little more on downside as well too. Thought I was smart in trying it again as it bounced perfectly off of VWAP and then got stupidly cut out again here. These are not the trades that I should be taking. I told myself from the get-go, hey, do not trade in the first few morning minutes. Let it breathe. Let it do what it wants to do. And the same thing with INDP on Wednesday. If it does do the morning spike, if it does even from here, if it goes there still can be plenty of opportunity on the upside after that morning spike. That's not the end of the trade. And even if it is, I got to be fine, willing to accept that it is. And the same thing going with just one more time, that I tried for this dip and rip attempt and stupidly got stopped out again as I kind of chased it as it was perking back above VWAP again. Perfectly respected that 3.6 line, but then stopped myself out for some reason at my entry price where that was another perfect entry point for the dip and rip trade. I've never been in the seat where I've missed a dip and rip on one of these types of setups where we're seeing the 9:45 time frame come into effect. We're seeing the basing before that, trading the VWAP curl. I've never missed that. The ones I've been watching hard and keyed in on with my full attention, I have never been in that situation where it's gone without me. And I use the analogy too, I immediately thought of course, I'm more from the world of baseball, but if you're a base runner, if you've never been thrown out or if you've never been picked off, you've never gotten far off enough, right? You've never found your limit. And that's the sense for me too, that I need to be putting more and more on these ones too, especially as we're I mention this all the time of as the market and these charts are evolving to become choppier and choppier and looking to get those easy stop figures out, like the 3-6, getting this quick little stop out here. As the market's continuing to evolve, that's just going to happen more and more and more. And I need to be way, way, way more patient. And for certain, I was doing that. After the second stupid chart, the temptation was there this whole entire time to say, okay, this, it's curling here. We're putting in higher lows. This could be the move here, but hey, we're still too early. Wait for that 945 mark. You get this big push up here. And I'm thinking, okay, this could be it here. Just wait, but be patient. Do not take it. If it goes without you, have to be patient. And did well enough. And, I kind of was happy with myself after it just immediately dumped back down to 3.6 to say, okay, good. You're still in the race. It could still go. Just be patient. Wait for that 945 mark. I think I'm going to continue to look at these more and more in the future as I can be way, way, way more patient. And the first time that I actually miss one or that I am too late to say that, hey, we weren't actually to the 945 time frame. Maybe I waited, didn't even take an entry until this point. I thought, hey, we could get another reject here. And if it still holds that 3.6 line after that 28th reject and we're in that 945 time frame, then I'll absolutely take it because every other one of the weak hands is already played out and now it's time to squeeze the shorts. But that's the line too, is knowing when that move is going to happen. If the move is actually going to happen, if it just becomes we're trending at that bottom base for so long, just like CEI to the upside, we're trending at that line for so long that eventually either it's got to go beyond it or below it. In that same perspective of being patient, but don't be too patient, or being patient to wait for the upside, or understanding, hey, this is too long to be spending down here in price action at that 3.6 point, and then this trade is not going to work. It's got to fail at some point if it's staying there for so long. So many different layers of this onion that is this dip and rip type of trade, and really any type of trade that I totally feel is continuing to evolve me as a trader. But it totally 100% starts with the mindset that I carry coming into the day with, and learning that even if I fall down through the failure of, not even a failure, but just the little tiny things that may throw me off in the morning or just try to get me out of that proper mindset, be on top of it, literally hokey pokey, turn myself around and just come back to the market with that fresh set of eyes and that same mental focus, because this is we're playing against the best players, the best motivated people and algorithms and computers in the world. This is not a game to be messing around with, or to think that you can just come into this and show up every single day and see whatever big percentage mover is and buy it, and then when it goes higher just sell it. Right? Sometimes it certainly feels like that, and I think today was definitely that day on HLBZ that I'll talk about next too. But that's just what I got to come into with these more. So it turned out at the end of the day, $10 in total profit on this one. And so I think this was each one of these in and outs was 100 shares trading. Yeah, that $300 position size max. Knowing too, I did $100 position size each way, because knowing that I was going to do a little bit of this chopping in and out, in and out, in and out. But I think more and more too, as now we're getting more big 100+ % movers in the market, I'm going to be more patient. I'm going to size up when it says to, respect obvious risk levels, maybe get a little bit more room, hold myself accountable to a stop range. And I think I mentioned this before too, or a stop profit target range, that I'm not saying I am setting a limit order at 4.4 and I am not taking that order off unless I don't get hit. And if this little tick here just barely misses me and I'm just holding out and saying, no, I'm not selling it because at 4.4, it's stupid. In the same way of this too, like this little bottom tick out here below 3.6, God, that's how they freaking get you. And the one kid that I'm reading the book of, the second Jack Schwager book, Market Wizards of, I think he's a commodities trader or something, but how much he focuses his attention to on how many people do this and place their stops at the obvious risk levels. And that's becoming more and more apparent today too, where you're getting stopped out. If you put your risk level, everybody and their grandma can see, hey, 3.6 is holding pretty well. If you're looking at it on a tick chart, even a 1 minute says that pretty well. Over the trend beyond this one where it actually did stop out. But you can see that if you're placing an actual physical stop there, yes, the tape can move quickly, but you got to be willing to factor that in too, just to not get a little tallywhacked out, that it pops right back up and holds that range too. or maybe coming in with a perspective too of, hey, I'm going to place my stop here, and I'm kind of willing for it to get chopped out and then reverse right back out without me. But that's also, I'm in the perspective too of, hey, I can't do that with a cash account. I really only have so much that I can trade per day if I want to continue to trade this much amount of size cash each trading day. Trying to hold myself to that too, and maybe like even throwing in a day trade too with my other margin accounts in that sense too. So it's a different perspective if you're above PDT in that sense. But just so many layers to this onion. At the end of the day, great 10% move here with this little quick in and out of, and I'm glad I got filled. I've bitten the bullet a few times on these ones that just quickly reverse in the same minute candle that absolutely just dump once that perk happens. But glad I was able to get out on this one, and I was ready to it as well on this one. Of course, we're still spiking, curling up more. This secondary candle, and now we're even in the afternoon here holding well too. So we'll see what it does over the after hours today, where it opens on Monday. Keep my eye on it too. That was great with CRVS. That was all the trades I had on the today. And HLBZ, the last ticker I want to mention too, huge percentage mover. I watched this one start to pull up on the pre-market scanner as we're getting to this point right here. I just randomly kind of look at trade zero to see, hey, what are the borrow fees on this one? I didn't see any float. Scans doesn't show me any float. It doesn't even really show me anything in regards to what the company actually is. I think it just has a super low history, super sketch. And I didn't see any. Oh, they did have news of partnership between HLBZ Media and Fox News, which is pretty good. Fox News Group, networks group to broadcast, whatever. So decent news. Again, I look up trade zero to see, hey, what are the borrow fees if this thing just absolutely pulls back and this is a fake little perk here. No shares available to short through trade zero. Looked at the perspective of, I think this thing is going to go up. So I tried to buy 50 shares. I was kind of willing to almost buy 100 shares within this candle to say, I think we could go absolutely berserk. It's a Friday. We're still in pre. This thing is still got plenty of steam left in it for, even though it's already up like 50% at that point. I was like, oh, I think it could still go up here. And kind of, this was the one before that I was talking about, CRVS, where it just threw me off a little bit because I knew deep down in my heart, this is not a trade. This is not substance to a trade. I'm just seeing it up. I'm seeing green and saying, hey, I want more of that green. Let me in on it. And I'm kind of glad I didn't get filled in my order right around 15, even though like 3 minutes later, it went to 17. That would have been an awesome trade. Not an awesome trade, just money. And that's the perspective I had to tell myself too. Am I doing this for money, or am I doing this for the trade itself too? Am I looking to just fill that dopamine meter in my head, or am I actually seeing a profitable opportunity here? And I think there was a little bit of intuition coming out on that to say, this thing is up far too much, but I think there's plenty more room to go. And I think that was just a little bit of experience of coming in. That was the voice in my head to say, this could be one of those INDPers, though 100% movers. And there was certainly plenty more in the tank too, touching a high of 25.78, which was ridiculous. Again, a wider range here to try and count this as, holding VWAP or holding well, just not dying off from that initial pre-market spike. But geez, yeah, that was, the thoughts are in my head too. Okay, if I was just holding those 100 shares from $15, where would I have been looking to sell? I'm in my head saying, man, I'm holding this thing till 30, right? I'm looking for that 100% move. But yeah, still debating in my head too of whether that little voice saying this thing's going to go up more, if that's intuition or reading into this thing of, and it's moving pretty rapidly, it's going to be a super low floater. I don't see, there's no shares available to reserve to short on this one too. Just whatever it was, but huge percentage move. Exciting to see on that one. We'll see what it does within the last hour here. Once again, I doubt maybe it does a similar thing with like INDP, where we just get, this was really all that the party was, and now maybe we get a pullback here to 19, 18 at the close here. Dumps more going into Monday, and then just nothingness in the next few days here, which would be disappointing to see that there's no continuation in any of these. But good to see, at least on the first day, there's plenty of percentage move opportunity on these ones. So that is all I had in regards to tickers. Just the one trade on the day, again, ending up green. That's trading too on a weak mental day, still ending up green. I, of course, will 100% take it. That's not going to be every single day. I think I certainly saved myself. I'm glad it did work out the way it did on CRVS. I think the potential was certainly there, and that's what kept me so involved in it, even through the chasing and just the unfocused mindset that I had coming into the market day. My lip is itchy for some reason. But yeah, that's trading. And this, again, making that comparison to baseball, is you can be better than the other team and still lose, or you could be worse than the other team and still win. And sometimes in trading, it's just going to kind of work out that way too, that you can have an absolutely terrible trading plan, terrible fill, just terrible circumstances all around and still be massively profitable versus the guy who has an awesome trading plan coming into the day, so prepared, so ready, and he takes a loss for some reason for whatever stupid outside influencing factors or internal factors in that too. That's just what the world of trading is. And I love being able to get these reps in, continue the experience, and going into, like I mentioned, in the individual trades themselves too. I think going into next week, Monday, I'm going to start looking for more patience on the individual trade itself, looking to size up a little bit more. I think we're getting more and more huge percentage movers to come in the last few days. I think there's going to be more of them coming into the winter months as we're continuing to see grow. Expanding back to that little 10% profit target goal as just a rule of thumb, or just key target area, as a basis point for a single as a trade, regarding what the trade would be considered as a single. But then I think, yeah, that's pretty much it too. Continuing to hit this grind, not trying to make a home run slam dunk, not trying to make any future HLBZs into anything that they aren't. I think even if I had that $15 fill in the pre-market, I probably would have sold. And I think I did mentally too, as it was getting this little tiny pullback, I was like, okay, cut it. So I can look back in hindsight, of course, too, now that I'm not in it, and go, oh man, this thing already went to 25, calculating the 10 shares amount, that would have been $1,000 on my 100 shares that I had at 15. First off, I wasn't going to get 100 shares at 15, and I definitely would have not held this all the way to 25 in that sense too. So keeping that perspective in line too. Still ended up being a long video, even though I really did not go over lots in regards to tickers. Cutting it short here too. I sincerely thank you guys for watching. I thank you for coming along this journey with me and future me. I hope you are chilling on your yachts and drinking a mimosa right now. We will catch you guys on the next one.